Hello, I'm Greg Hammond, and this is my course project for the seminar in intergovernmental relations and administration. I have a PowerPoint I'm going to share with you just to help facilitate this presentation. Okay, so the focus of my course project is the need for a municipal sports council for economic impact in Jackson-Madison County. And again, my name is, if I can change that screen. Okay, yep, my name is Greg Hammond. You can reach me via email, formersportsguy@gmail.com. Or, of course, you can contact me using my TSU email. So a quick summary. The purpose of this course project was actually to shed light on a service that is not currently offered in Jackson-Madison County. And so the idea is creating a municipal sports council to develop activities that spur economic impact and meet existing athletic facility needs within Jackson-Madison County and the West Tennessee region. So that's a need intergovernmental action can impact. And so we'll continue. I know some people may say that something like a municipal sports council may not appear important at first glance, but when you think about quality of life initiatives that many towns and cities take part in, the sports tourism is one of the fastest growing areas in terms of quality of life initiatives. And I like to open this up with a story, give you a little background. There's an adage that you have to have a compelling story in order to get people to care. And so with the idea of creating a municipal sports council, this is a true story I'm about to tell you, but it helps to shed light on the change that could be had with some intergovernmental action. So on the left, you can see an article from 1993, so 30 years ago. And so you can read the caption there. It's two sisters at a local high school who were competing at the state track meet. Their previous school didn't have track and field, so this was the first time they could compete at the state level in track and field. And so the local high school that they had transferred to, Southside High School, like the rest of the public high schools in Jackson-Madison County, did not have a track, the type of track that athletes compete on at the state level for state competitions and things of this nature. So this article is from 1993, and I mentioned this in the paper version of my project. And so May 1993, these two sisters, they were juniors at this local high school. They were preparing for the TSSAA state track and field meet. Their preparation, although no fault of their own, was inadequate, as their school, like local public schools all across Jackson-Madison County, didn't have a standard competition track. 30 years later, believe it or not, 30 years later, the need still exists. And so you can look there on the right-hand side, a local newspaper editor writing an opinion column that the local school system and our community needs to build a track. So 30 years removed, the story has not changed. There are several reasons for the lack of progress in that area, and I will touch on that in this presentation. So the deficiency persists within the 7 high school district in our community, grossly underserving students and residents alike. This inaction highlights a quality of life issue a racial disparity in resources, as well as a clear opportunity for intergovernmental action, meeting the educational and developmental needs of students and providing a substantial economic impact for the community at large is something that intergovernmental action could help. Now, before a plan of action is presented, it's beneficial to identify a few embedded hurdles in Jackson-Madison County. Number one, there is a split government. So we have two separate mayors, we have two separate parks and recreations departments, we have two separate law enforcement departments. You got the county sheriffs and the city police. Duplication of services when you think about fire, you have your city firefighters, but then you also have your county. So the split government presents a little bit of a challenge. And then two, our community is splintered because of a large private school community. So a lot of your elected officials, many of your business owners, many of your people of means don't have children, they don't have neighbors, they don't have church members in the public school system. And then also, there's really a limited vision for the park and recreation departments that we have in the city and county. Neither government park department has a regulation track in its master plan. So as they look forward to make improvements in plans, they don't include a regulation track in that. And again, it's needed because you have a school system with 13,000 students, 7 total high schools, but one of those is a virtual school. So 6 traditional high schools of some sort. They all participate in athletics. They offer the traditional sports. And track and field is one of those sports that's diverse. And so a number of different students on a spectrum of talent can participate in track and field, but that's right now a void in our community. Talking about the fiscal impact. So Jackson-Madison County, our city and our county is situated between the state's 2 largest cities. So we're right in the middle of Memphis. We're 86 miles from Memphis in one direction. And then in the other direction, we're 129 miles from Nashville. So Jackson-Madison County is uniquely situated to benefit from sports tourism and the potential tax revenue these efforts provide. A review of the efforts from some of our peer cities around the region highlight the potential impact intergovernmental action by way of a sports council could have on local communities. In June of this year, Clarksville, Montgomery County, their tourism commission hosted 2 sporting events. And this is just to give you just a glimpse of fiscal impact in terms of sports councils. And they, again, taking you back to the beginning of this, the idea is to create a municipal sports council tasked with developing activities that spur economic impact and meet existing athletic facility needs. So just to remind you where we're going here. So when you look at some of our peer cities, Clarksville, Montgomery County, their tourism commission hosted 2 sporting events back in June. One was a high school football all-star game, and the other was a Tennessee Valley Authority utility alignment competition. So it's where hundreds of utility division employees participated in a sports-like competition. Both of those events combined had an impact of $1.5 million. Now, a few months prior, the same community, Clarksville, Montgomery County, had 5 athletic events. This, I believe, was back in May. They had events ranging from horseshoe pitching to middle school track and field competitions, yielded an economic impact of $6.7 million for Clarksville, Montgomery County. So think about the economic impact that has. Think about the tax revenue that could be garnered from activities like that, not only to support those activities, but then to support the building and upkeep of current and future infrastructure throughout the city and county. Then also looking at the Huntsville Sports Commission for fiscal year 2022, Huntsville, their sports commission reported an economic impact of more than $30 million thanks to sporting events in that North Alabama city. Among those events were running competitions at Milton Frank Stadium. That's a football/track complex that's owned and operated by their local school system. So we'll give you some social context, because going back to look at this deficiency, that's 30 years. It's been 30 years. And so the need was first highlighted in 93. Fast forward 30 years later, in terms of quality infrastructure, it's not there in our community. And so that's why thinking about this sports council will be a good idea to not only meet existing needs, but to spur economic development through sports tourism moving forward. So some key findings to think about. If you survey Jackson-Madison County, someone may tell you that there is a track at a local high school, but that's inaccurate because it's an asphalt running track. It's asphalt. You can't host an event. You can't host a sanctioned event. Certainly, you can't compete for hosting championships, whether that's with the local high school athletic association or some of these AAU style competitions, or even college events. You can't host those on an asphalt track. So built with $17 million in county funds, Liberty High School was built back in, I think I see a typo there. It was actually built in 2002. Liberty was built in 2002. And so the asphalt running track they built on campus falls well below TSSAA. That's the Tennessee high school that regulates athletics in the state of Tennessee, or the National Federation of High Schools. The track that was built falls well below those specifications. And so because it's common for high schools in metropolitan areas to have a standard polyurethane competition track, city and county officials have probable cause to yield responsibility to the local school system. But to provide some context for you, our local school system has had 11 different superintendents in that 30-year span. And so it's been beleaguered with too much inconsistency in leadership to see a secondary or tertiary capital project come to fruition. And so what you have is you have students over the last 30 years who have competed in track and field, but have had to deal with inadequate facilities, less than inadequate facilities. In Madison County, the only regulation track we have is at a local private school, and the local public school has paid thousands of dollars over this 30-year period to participate in events on that track. So the students have suffered in silence as the lack of adequate running facilities is always pushed toward the public consciousness when one of our high school athletes makes it to the state tournament, and our local media excuse me, I should have grabbed some water before this. Excuse me. Our local media report on it on an annual basis, the fact that we have inadequate facilities in terms of track and field. Here's a big piece that I think is worth pointing out. Excuse me. Although Caucasian residents or white residents make up the majority of Madison County, they make up about 60, almost 60% of Madison County. They only make up about 30% of the local public school system. And again, I told you in the beginning, the private school population here in Madison County is quite significant, particularly when you consider the size of our county. So we have 5 private schools here in Madison County. So historical discrepancies in the area of community resources may be a factor into this 30-year span of inadequate facilities. Okay, so there's the social context. And I bring that up to touch on political and social and historical issues related to this project. So the recommendation is to create a 9-member municipal sports council. I say 9-member because when you think about our school board or you think about our local city council, they have 9 members. And so that's plenty of room for the county to recommend or appoint some of the members, for the city to recommend or appoint some of the members, and then also for the state to recommend or appoint some of the members, or local industry partners. Think about making room for some of our community champions who have the capital, the position, and the means to help make some things happen. So this municipal sports council will be tasked with developing activities that spur economic impact and meet existing needs. So this will be made up of, you think about this intergovernmental action, Madison County, excuse me, the city of Jackson, and then your state level economic and community development partners would be tasked to seek grants as well as public-private partnerships. Then something that's huge in Jackson, if you look at Jackson-Madison County and our proximity, whether it's in Madison County or within a 50-mile radius of Madison County, you have 7 area colleges and universities. So when you think about teams or people who will use these facilities or actually participate in sports council activities, the local colleges are certainly potential sponsors, potential participants who could host events at a track, at a facility on an annual basis, on a rotating basis. Just say, for example, the University of Tennessee at Martin could host a track event or cross-country event. Bethel University, Union University, Freed-Hardeman, Jackson State Community College, Dyersburg State Community College. There's just so much opportunity in terms of sports tourism when you have so many colleges in your area. And we haven't even mentioned, again, those schools, universities in the Memphis area, in the Nashville area, in the Western Kentucky area, in the North Alabama area. So where are our city and county situated? Certainly there on I-40, just tons of potential in terms of drawing folks for sports tourism. And then the last bullet point here, the Tennessee Advisory Commission on Intergovernmental Relations and the Tennessee Department of Economic Development and Community Development could be called upon to provide guidance in that area. And so you just kind of go back to the summary, creating a municipal sports council, and then this is a very true story. This need that was first really pointed out in 1993, which was the same time the city and county school systems consolidated. And so just it's an opportunity for intergovernmental action. And if it's done right, the children and residents of our community will benefit. By the way, if you see that photo there of the two sisters, the sister on the right, Cassandra, she was the athletic director at one of our local high schools. And so, of course, this was 30 years ago. So she's had her husband, she and her husband have had 4 of their kids go through the school system and face the same inadequacies in facilities that she faced. And so she just completed a tenure as an athletic director at one of the local high schools. And so if those stories juxtaposed like that don't really highlight the need of this 30-year void that's still happening, I don't know what can. So in wrapping this up, it's just an opportunity for intergovernmental action to meet a long-standing community need. If you have questions, I'm happy to take those questions again. formersportsguy@gmail.com. Of course, you can reach out to me using my TSU email. Thank you for listening and have a great day.